Hello, everyone. This is Linda Ferguson.
And Karen Nelson Bell.
And this is Platinum Prime for Life weekly podcast. So today we're going to be talking about something that the topic came about because I just returned from a trip, and it brought to mind the last two times that I was flying in an airplane. People around me were ill, and the very last time, not this trip, but the time before that, I came down with the flu, which was really horrible. So we're going to talk about staying healthy, which Karen's really good at doing, by the way. So I'm going to let her start.
Well, two things happened to me during COVID. The first, I had a recognition of two truths. They're true for me. They may be or may not be true for you, but you tell me what you think, Linda. The first thing I realized is that when you are sick, you need to remove yourself from the general population. You need to remove yourself and quarantine and self-quarantine and be responsible, because to do anything else is really selfish. You wanted to go out and get groceries, but what about all those people that touched your stuff, or that you thought you sneezed into your elbow, but there's little particles came out from your elbow? You were just stay home. That's what we're supposed to. We're supposed to quarantine ourselves. And if you did go out, now I have seen people wearing masks when I was living in. That was good. Great time. When I was living in Japan, I would see people. This is way before COVID. I was there in the early '80s, and people would you'd see them on the street wearing a mask because they knew that they were taking responsibility for not passing it on if they possibly could. So that's the first thing I recognized.
Okay.
Then the second thing I realized, so that's taking responsibility for not putting yourself in a situation where you're impacting other people. Number two is that I realized it was my responsibility to have my immune system so robust, so vigorous, that I could stay out of hospitals and doctor's offices, because it looked to me like going to the hospital. I had some friends who were ill at that time. And I didn't go. I just didn't. I just wanted to stay out of hospitals because that's where you go, where the sick people are. And I just wasn't in the mood to do that. And so it's my job to keep myself healthy enough that I am not a burden to my family, I'm not a burden to the government, and I'm not a burden to myself, and I'm not a burden to anybody, because I'm staying healthy, and it's financially intelligent as well, because guaranteed, I don't care what kind of insurance you have. You go in the hospital for a long enough stay, you're going to end up spending some money, and you may end up having a medical bankruptcy even. So I felt that, okay, now's the time. I'm going to make sure that this immune system of mine is so chugging right along that I'm impenetrable. Now, I don't know if I am or not, but I haven't been sick for a very long time. Knock on plastic, knock on
That's
everything.
good.
But I know there's a lot of stuff going around. I had COVID for 3 days, and it only showed up as a very mild cough. I mean, I just went like that for 3 days, and then it was done. That's all I had from COVID.
That's
So
impressive.
I think that tells me that my immune system is pretty good, and then I haven't been sick since. I did have a mold infestation, and the mold caused me to have a cough, and but I wasn't sick. I just had this response to the mold, and my immune system did not like that mold. But I don't know, maybe by now, since I've had mold in me and gotten rid of it, maybe my system is like, okay, next time you get mold, we know what to do. Because you can train your immune system, right? So those were my two realizations. So I've been on this mad, passionate journey, adventure, to find ways, because what's right for me is right for me, and what's right for you is right for you. And I think we all have the responsibility. Now, I love helping people find out if what I did is something that they could do and find benefit from. I love that, because I have a company that has products that I take to keep myself in shiny shape. But you have to do the journey. You have to find out for you. Yeah,
Well,
that's
I
there
agree
you go.
with you. I
Yeah.
agree that for each person, you first of all, you need to make a choice on how you're going to stay healthy. And so I have a story. I just randomly woke up about 2 weeks ago and my knee hurt. I think it was 3 weeks ago. Anyway, my knee hurt and it hurt so badly. I was just hobbling around. I was fearful. Like, what the heck is this? And, a lot of people will suggest things. And I thought, what kind of seems like bursitis. What people have said, they've had bursitis of their shoulder. That's a typical place for bursitis to show up. So I looked it up. Could you get bursitis in your knee? Sure enough, you can. So then I thought, all right, well, maybe that's what it is. But I'm just going to wait it out because I had a trip coming up and I knew, well, that's long enough and I know eventually it'll go away. And it did. But just before, 3 days before we were set to travel, my husband and I went on a really long walk, the most steps we'd gotten in a really long time. And I was wearing a new pair of totally flat and very comfortable shoes. But after walking and walking and walking, the bottom of both of my feet felt like I might have gotten blisters. And then the next day, my opposite foot, not the leg so much, but my foot, just hurt so much I couldn't walk on it. And I thought, first one leg, then the next, what the heck? So now I'm getting ready to travel, and this is not okay. And I'm actually going to see my 1-year-old grandson, which meant grandma had to be very active and healthy. So I thought, well, I'm just going to throw every solution at this problem that I can. And I booked an appointment with my doctor. I set an appointment with an acupuncturist that I've never been to one before. Then I booked an appointment with a chiropractor. I'm thinking, like, how many things can I do all at once? Had a red light therapy going on. It was like extensive. Here's the thing. So the cut to the chase part of it is by the time I got on the plane, my foot was a little sore and I was okay. And then I just wrapped up my trip yesterday. I arrived back home. My foot's still a little sore, but not bad. I did have acupuncture. I did go see the doctor. I'm getting everything x-rayed just to make sure I know what the heck's going on. And started a serious diet to weigh less so that I'm not stressing out my body with excess weight. All those things. I go in to see my doctor and I tell her, and she's just a delightful doctor, very much embracive of not only traditional medicine, but home remedies and alternative solutions. And she said, I like you, Linda. I like working with you. One, you're almost always healthy. Nothing's really going on with you. So you're in great shape for your age. And she said, but you know what? Patient after patient will come in and they're overweight and they're smoking like heck and they have the onset of different diseases. And I'll say to them just lightly, you think you might want to stop smoking before you get lung cancer or something like that? And she said, and people will say, well, I don't have it. Like, okay, that's not the point. So when you're talking about the preventative measures you take, and I do things that are similar, there are many people that don't. They just consider, well, I don't have any ticking time. I don't have anything going on. And they don't consider that when you lose your health, that pretty much sucks. And then you'll wish you did something way earlier in life, which you can no longer do now. So, long
Guarantee
story.
those people are not watching our podcast.
No, they're not. They would be like, what are these women talking about? Health? But getting on the plane, so now I'm on the plane and I'm going to see family members and then do some business while I'm there as well. And I I look around for any coughers to make sure they're not next to me. And it was a pretty healthy plane, and I only saw a couple people wearing masks. And delightfully, I was fine the whole time. So, but it made me think of it because 2 flights coming and going, and pertaining to a statistic that I just saw, which was we are right now, the CDC reported that we have the worst flu season in, I think it was 8 years, worse than COVID. We have the worst flu season right now. More people are coming down with the flu. And I thought, oh, great, I'm on a plane. There's probably some of them sitting in this plane. But I was just taking everything I could think of to keep my immune system up so that I didn't come down with anything. And luckily, I did not.
That's good. Did you ever hear of a book called Eat Dirt?
No.
There's a one doctor that I happen to follow for various things. His name is Dr. Josh Axe, and he's pretty
Oh,
well known in the field of collagen. He's a
yeah.
collagen expert. I read his book on collagen, and I've been watching him for a long time. And he wrote a book called Eat Dirt, and I think it came out. It may have come out during COVID, and it talked about the fact that this compulsion we have to get rid of every germ is doing harm. That
Mm,
you need to, when you're a kid, you need to eat some dirt.
yes.
Not maybe not literally, but you need to be exposed to certain things so that your immune system can be trained. Hey, we have to make sure that that doesn't penetrate the system and the immune system goes after it, right? And so he does not believe that we should be every 30 minutes using antiseptic on our hands and making sure that there's no bacteria anywhere, because guess what, we need bacteria, some of them, and the ones that we don't need, we need to tell our gut, well, hey, this, we don't need this one, so be on the lookout. So
Right.
I've always kind of, you remember the 5 second rule? Like if you drop some food on the floor.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think the 5 second rule is probably comes from sort of that innate mother's natural wisdom, is like, okay, 5 seconds on the floor. Well, depending on what the food was, if it was a strawberry, it might not pick up much. If it was some if it was a piece of spaghetti with sauce on it, that might not be so good. It might pick up too many bacteria. But the gut is so important to everything. We've got to keep in order to keep our immune systems in good working order, we
Mm-hmm.
have to keep our gut in good working order. So that's the
Absolutely.
day what people really need to be doing. And I have so many offerings. I mean, as I coach people on how to get older better, because I think I'm pretty good at getting old, and I'm happy to coach people on how to be better older. And one of the things is you better be knowing about your gut. And so I've had people tell me, "What are you talking about?" They don't know, they didn't know, they never heard the word biome or microbiome or gut microbiome. Biome meaning a controlled, closed atmosphere. Like there was a dome where they experimented with people living without coming out of the dome, and they grew everything for themselves. It was a biodome. Well, your gut is its own little environment. It's like a forest of its own, and it wants certain things, and the gut will tell, it will tell you, this sounds kind of weird, but it will tell you what emotions you're going to have. It will tell you,
Okay. I
it will tell,
definitely don't want to go there on that particular discussion.
okay.
But if anyone's interested in finding out more about your emotions and your gut, you can definitely reach out to Karen on that particular subject. This is like staying healthy and being emotional. But I do agree with you. I don't necessarily agree on that part, or I don't know enough about it to agree or disagree. I should put it that way. But I do know a lot about Your gut flora, your gut environment very often has so much to do with how you're feeling overall, just your general sense of things. So it's a subject that's worth another podcast episode with some experts to point to back up just
Good
what
idea.
we are saying is true. Very
Good
easy
idea.
to find information on this, but it's its own subject. So it kind of veers off. It does have a lot to do with health. The other thing that occurs to me when I see stories that say this is the worst flu season ever, and then the flu comes from a virus, and we're told that viruses tend to replicate but twist, and so that they adapt to anything that's being sent out against them. The one other, not to get too conspiracy theory about things, but the stark reality about life is that drug companies make money when you are ill. Drug companies lose money when people don't need the drugs that they create. And when we now have a whole shift in attitude toward what is required to stay healthy, those are vaccines and those kind of things, to prevent bad situations from happening. When there's a whole new head of viewpoint coming in, drug companies for their future are probably freaking out a bit, because it means that how they historically made money, and they put a lot of money into the environment. They spend a lot on ads. They spend a lot on paying dividends to investors. They're a huge part of our economy. When I heard that it was the worst flu season ever, I went, they're justifying right there. People run to the doctor. I know a ton of people that have gone to their doctor like, this is the worst flu I've had in a long time. And so I just want to make sure. So give me this and this and this and the variety of the things that the doctors are giving them. My conspiracy theory alarm goes off just a little bit. So whether you believe in that or you don't believe in it, and I will leave that to you, the solution to something that's manufactured that makes you feel ill, where you're going to seek medical help, the solution to that continues to be keep your immune system topped off. And that includes gut health, as Karen was saying, it includes exercise and not being overweight, which stresses out your body tremendously. So those stories, and I do apologize for putting forth a conspiracy theory because it's what I happen to believe. Follow the dollar, but you don't have to believe it. But the solutions are not bad.
Yeah, the minute you said it, because I had one very sweet friend tell me in the last week. She said, oh, the flu is just terrible out there. It's going. Be careful when you go out there. Don't touch anything. Don't. And she was really going on about how I could take care of myself out and about in the world. And the minute that you said that this is I didn't know that statistic. My mind did instantly go to, oh, what laboratory created that nice new flu? And you don't know. We don't have any way of knowing that, so it's just something to ponder.
That's
And
right.
you can ponder it whichever way you want to ponder. I confess that the minute you said that, my mind instantly went, oh, they just need to make some more money. I don't know if that's true or not.
It is
I
true.
just where my mind went.
Totally. If it's your job, if you're running a company and it's your job to keep that company profitable, and it takes a really long time to get approvals on anything, in the short window, you have to keep those earnings up, because Wall Street's going to slaughter you if you miss your earnings expectation. So just from that alone, just thinking like a business person, well, how do you keep the money coming in? You have to make something dangerous. You have to run ads that make it seem like if you're not doing these preventative vaccinations or taking these preventative pills or running to the doctor at the first instance because this thing can take care of your symptoms, you'll suffer
Yeah.
or worse. So, of course, just knowing business people, of course. And then, we've grown up with all the movies and stuff about the corrupt guys that do stuff, and then all the conspiracy theories, which may or may not be true, about where did COVID even come from. And now there's some money showing that there was funding there and blah, blah, blah. But for us, those things take your health out of your own hands when you think about it. And
Yeah.
that means you can't do anything about, well, are they creating a virus? I mean, probably in the long term you could, but in the short term, what we're all about in order to live a platinum prime life, the tools we talk about are tools that you control and that you have a choice on how to live your life.
So if I'm basically really pretty healthy, and I'm not a person who is, I don't have comorbidities that would make it difficult for me to recover. Maybe I should just go get the flu and live through it, you
Yeah.
know, and come out the other end and go, well, that keeps me from getting that flu. And it probably will help with the next flu because my body's starting to learn, hey, any flu viruses, we don't like them, so get rid of them. I don't know. So there
Mm.
are people who actually believe during COVID they were on purpose trying to get COVID because they thought that they would immunize themselves by getting
Foolish.
COVID, which actually is not. That's not a flawed theory. That's a valid concept. I never
They're a
knew we
baby
were.
boomer. That's a baby boomer mind think. That's when we were younger. My mom had us go out and get the measles so that we already had the
Really?
measles when we got older. It wouldn't hit us as hard. But
Wow, baby boom. I'm just on the cusp of I'm not a true baby boomer, but I am a baby boomer in my heart and head.
yeah,
And
you are.
I don't remember anybody. I mean, I sure didn't want to get the measles, but I sure did. I got everything. I got chicken pox. I didn't get polio, but I got everything else. Everything
In the
else.
day of baby boomers, moms would get together and they'd find one sick kid, and then everyone would go for measles and chickenpox. We would all like hang out, have a party with the sick one, just so he came down with it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, it was a thing, right?
Oh my God. Oh,
Because if you have either of those things when you're older and you're pregnant and you have a baby and you give it to the baby, you can have a defective child. So,
yeah.
I mean, it can hit them, it can kill them, it can do a lot of bad things. So, definitely, that was the mindset behind it.
Of
So,
course,
we had all those things when we were younger.
I still
Moms,
have the chickenpox virus dormant in my body. I have 7 different viruses that are asleep, just waiting to be awakened. And that I don't want to list them out because it's nobody's business, but I do. I have 7 because I had Bell's palsy when I was 16 years old, and Bell's palsy comes from the same virus as
oh, wow.
mononucleosis and the same virus as Lyme's disease, all of
Wow.
which I had in Epstein-Barr and all these different things. So I got plenty of viruses living in me, but guess what? They aren't awake.
You
And
don't have to come down with it. Yes. We've all been exposed to lots of different things, but if you stay healthy, you don't have to come down with that particular thing, even if it's dormant in your system. Some diseases are definitely more, they wreck your system much more easily. Polio being one that I think there was a polio case just recently where they thought it was no more. But again, there's a couple of things, but one is take care of yourself, take care of your system, really do the things that are worth it. They take time and effort. Don't get fixated on health, because that's also just as detrimental. If you're always thinking about being healthy and, freaked out about it, you're going to come down with stuff, because what you put your attention on, you eventually get. Truly believe it. Yeah.
Okay, I want to tell you something that I heard.
Yeah,
Please, me, call
of
on me,
course.
please. Hey, I got my T-shirt on, by the way. I'm 80 and I'm getting younger. I can't wear the T-shirt anymore because in a couple of weeks I'm going to be 81, so I have to get all new T-shirts.
Oh my
I don't even know
gosh.
what to say. I'm 81. I'm 80 plus. I'm 80-ish. I'm I'm in my 80s. I don't know what it's going to be, but anyway, I read that. Um, the vagus nerve, which is one of the main nerves of your body that just controls so much stuff about your health. And it comes from back here and it comes down like this, like that. Guess what's really good for it? Humming. Humming
Oh,
stimulates your vagus nerve. So what do I do every day? Singing and humming make you
yeah.
healthy.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. So
Wow.
and I'm not fixated on health. I'm fixated on music and art.
Yes, you
So
are.
yeah, so really, I think that I'm staying healthy. And do you know, many musicians live into their hundreds. Pablo Casals, he was 100, and Pablo Picasso, he was 100. The artists, but musicians, man, as long as they, not every musician lives that long, but you know what? They live good long lives and they're healthy way into their older years. And I'm planning on it.
You're already
Um,
there. I mean, I know the age that you're going for, and I would definitely put my money on you hitting that.
Well, yeah, okay, so I'm 80, but I think I'll make it to 90. Now you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know what God's plan
No,
is
you
for
do
you.
not.
You just don't know. I mean, I don't even know. Maybe it won't be a health issue. Maybe a truck will hit me. I don't know. Who knows? But I think I will make it to 90, which is only 9 years away. Oh my God, 9 years is not very long. And
I'm for sure going to make it to 90,
I think I'll
unless
make it
a bomb goes off or something.
Yeah, I saw Jane Fonda on the SAG Awards, and she had the most perfect jawline. Her jawline was just like that,
Mm.
and her smile lines were just like that. And it was like,
Great plastic surgery. That woman's had great plastic surgery.
I want to meet her surgeon. Not that I'm too chicken to do it, but I thought, oh wow, that was there's the instant plastic surgery.
Yeah, I know. She looks fantastic. And that's one of her jobs. One of her jobs is to just stay young. And she looks
Yeah,
fantastic doing it.
my job
So
too. Don't you
you
think?
look
Because
fantastic. What's
my
that?
brand is I'm 80, I'm getting younger. Well, I better care about how I look. I mean, I think it is some kind of vanity. I think there is some show business vanity in there
Yeah.
of me wanting to still look good. The more important thing is, how do I feel?
Well, I tell you what, you look in the mirror and you look great and you go, I look great for that age, for my age. And I look great for decades younger, even. And you
And I
do.
function pretty good. I think there's three things, right? How you feel,
Mm-hmm.
how you look, and how you function. Because how you
Yes,
function, those that
that's
would
huge.
I just summed it up. Those are the three things.
How you
The
look,
least important
how
is
you
how
feel,
you
how you function.
How you feel is secondary to how you function. Because if you function, you're going to feel good. You
Yes,
can't feel good without good function.
that's right. That's why I was so distressed when I couldn't walk well. And I
Yeah.
thought, for no apparent reason, I could not walk well. And it's the first real, double whammy. First, my knee, which was so random, and
Yeah.
then my foot, which was so random. And I just thought, okay, I've heard of other people like having weird things like that, but I went,
I,
okay, that's it. Wake up call.
Well, we don't have enough time for me to tell you the story, but it's so weird that you had that because in the last month I had something with my right foot and it was terrible. It was like maybe plantar fasciitis is what one doctor said. I went to four different medical professionals in a 10-day stretch. The
Huh.
chiropractor, the sports medicine guy, the laser therapy, the physical therapy, everything. And finally I watched a video I watched a video, and this particular doctor, he's a chiropractor, and he talks about the ketogenic diet, and he's the person that I follow a lot. And he said, you're doing it wrong. Do not stretch the foot where you're bending the toes back. He said, for this, stretch the toes like a ballerina would and come forward. Stretch the top of your foot. He says, you got to stretch the opposite muscle, not the one because here's where my foot hurt, right in the bottom of the arch of the foot. Like, there's my foot, and that was where it hurt.
Mm-hmm.
He said, don't do this, do this, so that you're stretching. And do you know, the next day it felt better, and the next day it felt better. And I've been using a gua sha stone, and I've been using fascia blasting, and I've been massaging it like crazy, and it's gone. It's 2 weeks later, and it's gone.
Oh, good. Well, that's actually a great tip for me. That's a really great tip.
Yeah, try that. You could try that. Yeah.
And then tomorrow we're meeting up at a Pilates class, which will be a first for me too.
Yeah, me too. First, I never. Yeah, because maybe it's gonna. We're experimenters.
We're experimenters.
We're experimenting to find out what's good for us, and we'll let you know if we think it's worth you trying.
That's right. Okay, so we are coming to the end of our time together today. But just to sum things up, we're talking about staying healthy and enjoying a Platinum Prime life by doing that. And so we discussed traveling, and that a lot of people still feel that there is a problem traveling and actually spreading disease that way. So upping your immune system. And how do you do that? For both of us, we do very similar things, which is eat well, sleep well. Guess what? I fixed my sleep. I'll have to tell you about that later, but I know.
Let's talk about that next week.
Let's talk about sleep again next week, because I fixed my sleep finally. I'm so thrilled.
Stay on the camera and when this ends so you can tell me all about it.
Okay, I will. Anyway,
everybody wants to know.
Karen mentioned microbiome being an indicator of how healthy you will be or how susceptible to disease you will be. And I do agree with her. It's not a subject we delved deeply into, but for anyone who's interested in what role that plays in your overall health and emotional well-being, you can reach out to Karen directly. She also referred to products for one of the main companies that she represents that have a very effective synergistic system that really helps weight loss. It helps mental clarity. It helps many, many things. Food processes, keeping your microbiome really healthy and tip-top shape. So you can reach out to her for that. And then we wrapped it all up with a little bit of conspiracy theory thrown in there. And that is me. And both of us having foot things going on. And then Karen just said, there's a great exercise that helped her handle her foot pain, which I am going to try immediately because I have a little bit of it left. All in our effort to just continue to live our best lives for as long as we have our lives. So with that, I'm going to bid y'all an adieu. Over to you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.